Day six, y'all. It is day six, and I am in uniform. If you don't know, it's time to eat like you got some sense. Welcome back, Apoc. Come on in, everybody. We are super excited to have you for our last installment of this health series here at A Place of Change Ministries. Man, it's been a phenomenal week. It's been a phenomenal week. So come in, let us know. Are you sad about this final day? Like, if I had to drop an emoji in the chat, it'd just be like tears, like boo-hooing, because y'all don't understand how much I love this. I love teaching. I love talking to y'all. I love hearing y'all stories. I love the private sidebar conversations we be having. So I'm always boo-hooing when it's almost time for me to leave the stage. But welcome back. How are you guys feeling? Hello, 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 everyone. I know, man, doesn't it go by so fast? It goes by so fast. So listen, guys, we're getting into final lesson of this health series. We're getting into this final lesson of this health series, and today we're talking about the final bit in the HER method for eliminating chronic stress. But before we get into that, we have a lot to do today. We have a lot to do. I've definitely enjoyed the week too, Nita. Man, you guys are such awesome audience, such an awesome team at APOC. Everything has just been happening flawlessly. Shout out to the team. Shout out to all of you guys for showing up for yourselves. How are you feeling on this final day? So at this point, for many of you guys, we should be at a week, no sugar, a week, no dairy, at least one meatless meal a day. You have been digging into your mindset. You've been excavating your beliefs. You have been exploring what it means for you to have optimal health. Like, what has it been like for you guys? Like, so somebody come on, somebody share before we jump into review and reflections and all of that stuff. What has it been like for you this week? Any other takeaways? What's up, YouTube? How y'all doing? What's up, everybody? I just would love to hear. We got refreshed. We got some crying emojis. Any other feels today? And let me tell y'all something, okay? Let me tell you something. This is how you know you was made for this. I don't know if y'all noticed, right? But I've been in multiple backgrounds this week. In the past 7 days, y'all, I've been in three different states. The past 7 days, I've been in three different states. God is so good. Look, I started this thing, our first two sessions, I was in Michigan. Our next two, three sessions, I was in Texas. And now I'm in Arizona. I've been in three states in the last week, and we still keeping the party going. High energy, high faith, just grateful for the assignment, y'all. Grateful for the assignment. Shout out, ooh, clarified. Ooh, come on, clarified. Hey, Eric, you better talk that talk. Feeling powerful today. Shout out to you, Janice. Man, that's awesome. Sharita says, I'm clear. It's the best place to be. Lost 2 pounds in 1 week. Let me tell you why that's a win. That's a major win. Because a lot of times when people are on a weight loss journey, we want it to happen really fast. We like, listen, God, I ate broccoli for dinner last night. Why am I not all the way down to this morning, right? But on average, I used to be a personal trainer, and what I used to have to educate my clients on all the time is that the average amount of weight loss that you should lose each week to make sure that it's weight that's going to stay off, meaning it's not coming off too fast, is up to about 2 pounds a week. So, Zip, you right on track, baby. Down 2 pounds means you are on track. Them two ain't coming back. I don't know what's going to happen with the rest, but them two is gone. So good job. Come on, y'all. Give us more wins in the chat before we kick this thing off. Oh, come on. Adriana, cortisol doesn't let the body process like it's supposed to. Good. Come on, takeaways. My consistent hit workout routine. All right, y'all moving. Y'all moving. Uh-oh, Deshonda said I was on fire in the beginning, but now my energy is slacking. It might be from detox and withdrawals, depending on how much you've moved out of your diet, Deshonda. That is very, very common when we're detoxing from sugar and caffeine. Man, that energy dips low before it shoots back up because our body is adjusting to the fact that we're not fueling up. We're not fueling up with synthetic energy. So trust me when I tell you that it's perfectly normal. Similar to when Candace asked me yesterday, Lisa, I'm not even able to sleep because of all the energy I do have. Is that normal? And I'm like, yes, Candace, it's normal. It's normal when your body is not bogged down with all of the sugar, all of the inflammatory foods. So, Deshaun, I want to reassure you that it is normal to have a dip in energy and feel some fatigue when you're coming off of this stuff. You're welcome. Let's go. Oh, Chanel. Now that's a win. Y'all, Chanel said I wasn't afraid to increase my prices. Come on. Bring the bag. It's the bag in the room. It's the bag in the room. Yes. Good job. Super proud of you. That is a big deal. It's a really big deal having the courage to, ask for what you believe you deserve or what the value of your product or service is. That's so powerful. Eating emotionally free, balanced. Let's go. Best feeling ever. Emotional regulation, emotional intelligence. Just feel like you in control of how you feeling. Oh, Nita, don't y'all start. Nita said this has been life changing for health in all areas of my life. Now, we'll go ahead and finish class, but technically we can end there. Y'all give me one life changing in the chat, and I'll be like, my work here is done. We can wrap this up, right? I'm contractually obligated to finish today's class, but once somebody tell me it's been life changing, that's all I need to hear. That's all I need to hear. Wow. Okay. Well, thank you guys so much. This has been amazing. Let's get into you guys had homework yesterday. Deja, let me know if you're ready. I promise that we will start with you today. Promise we will start with you today. What I want to do is would like to start off with what your homework was. Excavation. We ended yesterday with me teaching you how to slay your giants. I told you that we absolutely must being ourselves several layers of why, coaching ourselves to the root of the issue. And Deja beautifully volunteered yesterday to do the homework last night and come back and share the day. So, Deja, thank you so much. Come on in, Deja. Did you excavate? And if so, how did it go?
Hey, so yes, I did excavate and it went pretty well. I did it 7 times, like you said, and I wrote down the why question every single time that the answers I got up with. So, like for number one, I have this control issue that was passed down. Number two, I feel like I'm taking the lead when I control things. Number three, I feel like taking the lead shows my independence. Four, I put because I tried to prove to my mom that I could lead so that I can take some of her hard things off, which I felt like I perceived those as hard for her. Five, I felt I needed to prove it to my mom too, so that I would be able to release some of her burdens. Number six, I felt like proving to my mom and other people was all of their love language. And I have a problem with doing the work to prove myself and only stepping into faith when it is an unfamiliar pace. And so I just sat with myself and figured out like all of the degrees and certifications and trainings and everything was to prove that I have control. And then I'm like, well, why? What was the faith thing? And I'm like, okay, well, faith wasn't really my forte when I was growing up or whatever. So I will only hear about like the love language of God, through other people or whatever. And I'm pretty much was like, okay, well, I can prove to God. So pretty much I took that proving thing to God or whatever. And I figured out like my mom didn't know God for herself. And that pretty much was how she lived her life. So me growing up with proving or move pretty much. I was like, so that's pretty much my thing. So I just have identified that, and my go-to emotion was not feeling needed. And then if I didn't feel needed, then I felt like I needed to try to prove that I was needed, so to speak. So I think I can fix this by my perception and asking myself every single time, am I proving or am I being obedient and not trying to prove that I'm worthy or what I am doing is.
Deja, you went deep, deep, deep. So, like, okay, so Deja, what would you say would have been the thing that was the biggest stressor for you before you started this?
You I don't know if I froze or not, but you said what was the biggest stressor for me when?
Yeah, when you started this exercise, what was the biggest challenge that you were trying to get to the bottom of?
I wrote that I have execution with no relief because I was trying to control things instead of being obedient, radically obedient.
Got it. So you had execution with no relief. And so doing this exercise, you were able to get to the bottom of the fact that it was because you were trying to hold on to too much control based on how you came up with your mom and wanting to basically prove yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Man. And so was there any big revelation in doing this for you? Like how you could maybe possibly move forward?
Yes, I feel like since I know it now, I have to be intentional about asking myself, um, is this something that I am trying to prove to myself or others, or am I literally being obedient to what God has said and literally giving my faith muscles something to exercise? So last year was my very first time where I literally had to stand on faith exercise. So that was something different for me with moving to another city. And God's like, hey, do this. But even in that, I feel like I was still trying to prove to God that I I can do this. I'll do this in my way, not fully your way.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So now what are we going to do different going forward? What do we perceive from here? We have to take chances on ourselves and exercise faith and allow God to take some of the burden when we move forward now.
I think my connection is off because I was hearing you, but it was like a little choppy. Can you repeat it for me?
Yeah, hold on. Is my connection off for everybody, y'all? I'm in the hotel, so do I need to switch over to my phone? Can somebody give me a Shamie or the team? How do I sound? Did you get my text about?
I think it's me.
Yeah, no, I think you're good, Lisa. I think you're good.
Okay, okay,
Yeah,
okay,
I think it's me.
okay. Sorry about that. Okay, Deja, what I was saying was moving forward now that you've done this exercise, how do you feel like you should proceed going forward to avoid getting back into a place where you're trying to take control so much to your detriment?
I feel like I'm going to just literally stand in continued proximity with God so that I can make sure that I am doing what he says and not trying to prove to him that my strategy on what he's told me to do is going to work. So just um I literally probably have to ask myself out loud all the time, is this obedience or are you trying to prove something? So I
There
think
you
I'm
go.
gonna start just asking myself that, like, is this obedience or are you trying to prove something?
Perfect. That's it. Have a question ready to go to coach yourself in the moment until it becomes second nature.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Man, y'all give Deja some love in the chat. She excavated last night. That was phenomenal. That was phenomenal, y'all. Okay, so let's move forward with the radical obedience framework today. I hope you guys did your homework and you guys understand the power of not just stopping at what sounds like it makes the most sense and allowing yourself to stay there, but digging a little deeper, begin to reveal stuff to you that you're like, wow, I had no idea it went this deep or it went back this far. So just taking those moments to reflect. So listen, guys, first of all, before we move forward, and I teach this last bit today and we begin to wrap up, make sure you guys stay on to the end. I have final thoughts for you today. I'm excited to share. And I have a last bit piece of homework for you too. So make sure you stay on today. But I just want to pause here for the people who, this has been a lot for you this week. If this has been a lot for you this week, just put a one in the chat, meaning a lot, meaning, man, some moments were overwhelming. Some moments were like, I'm just not sure what to do all of this, man. I wasn't expecting all of this. I wasn't expecting all of this. Man, listen, I just want you to know like there's a bigger picture here, right? There's a bigger picture here. And I want you guys to take some time to think through what it really takes to get to where you want to be. Like the information, it can be a lot, 100%, but I don't want it to stop you from taking action. And I want to give everyone permission. For those of you who it's been a lot of information, you weren't expecting to go this deep, you weren't expecting to work this hard, whatever it is. I want to give you permission to just take steps at your own pace. I want to give you guys permission to take steps at your own pace. My job is to teach you the most optimal version. So a lot of times um, throughout my career, people challenge me and say, Lisa, why don't you just meet people where they are? And if you guys haven't noticed, that's not really my approach. I always say, I don't believe in meeting you where you are. I believe in meeting you where your condition is. What does that mean? It means sometimes people come to me, y'all, and they are like H3 or 4 kidney failure. They just got diagnosed with cancer, or the depression and their anxiety is just controlling them, or the obesity, their weight is out of control. But they expect me to treat them like other people have treated them, meaning just meet them where they are. And just allow them to go slow with this thing, with how they take things out of their diet and let them take their time. And so what if it takes a year to start? And I'm like, you don't understand. When people come to me, they're in health. Sometimes we don't have that long. But while I'll give you permission to go at your, I'm always going to be upfront with you with how much it really takes if you really want to put something in remission. You really want to get off the medications. If you really want to get out of a state of chronic stress, I'm going to give you all that is required versus telling you, well, just do a little bit at a time. And let's just hope that your condition doesn't escalate to the next stage. I'm going to come in and tell you, if I'm being perfectly honest with you, you can't eat any of that stuff. You're going to have to shut all. If you want this thing to stop escalating, if you want the stress and the pressure and the you feel to stop, you're gonna have to do a little more than what you're probably used to doing. Right? And so I just want you guys to understand that I know this can be overwhelming, and I know this can be overwhelming, and I know sometimes it can be a lot of information, and I also know people are used to telling you to go really slow and take your time. Sometimes you have to look at what you're battling and how fast that's moving. Sometimes you have to pick up the pace. And so you get to make your own choices. Don't want anyone to feel overwhelmed or that it's too much or that it's impossible. But I remind you that sometimes when we're dealing with health, we have to make a bigger adjustment quicker. If y'all got it, got it in the chat and then let me know. Am I cutting up? I'm worried this hotel Wi-Fi switch over to my phone if I need to. But got it in the chat. You have permission to go at your own pace. So acknowledge what you're battling, saying. Acknowledge what you're battling. Acknowledge what you're battling. Breaking up a little. Should I try and switch over? Hold on, guys. Let me try and switch over to my phone. I don't know. E, you want to give them a word or something as I switch over my Wi-Fi?
Oh, I can just tell them what happened for me this week. I don't know
Okay.
if Dee Dee wants to, you know, I know she's doing something, but we both had some. Yeah, when she said y'all was doing a little bit more than y'all was gonna do, that was me she was talking to. Okay. I thought we were gonna be taking quizzes. I didn't know we was gonna be taking hard tests. Okay. I was looking for quizzes. And me and Dee Dee just we really spent some time on it, man, because it was heavy, and for us what she hit was just the issue. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's the underlining issues? That's what me and Didi was on. Like, let's stop talking about the symptoms. You know what I'm saying? Let's stop talking about, we may have a disagreement. It's like, no, why? Because we don't have a disagreement on everything. Like, we're not arguing about everything. So why is this thing like getting under our skin? Like, why is this bothering us? You know what I'm saying? And what we came to the conclusion on is there are things that don't bother us, because we're looking at it as a team and we're seeing it as a problem. Whereas when we don't see eye to eye on something, that's why we're debating the way we're debating, because it's like I'm trying to protect my thinking, she trying to protect how she, and it's like, oh, okay, we didn't even ever think about it before, but it's like, oh, we ain't on one accord. So the one accordness is the problem. Anytime we get off of one accord, then we're gonna have some issues. So why are we not on one accord when it comes to this? What's the problem? And so we were able to get to some childhood stuff. You feel me? We was able to get to some childhood stuff, and I was able to tell her like, yo, I don't mean no harm, but there were people who were demanding and they were harmful. So I just didn't wake up one day not liking people who were demanding. I have some real issues of some people in my life who were adults who hurt me and who harmed me when they were in control. And so as an adult, it's not that I don't want people to be in control. It's just I don't want the wrong person to be in control. And sometimes I see things and it's a trigger. Like, oh, that thing that adult did to me that was in charge, that teacher that was in charge, the way she handled me. All right, I'm good on anybody being in control of my life from this point forward. I got it from here. And she was like, I'm not the person who did that to you. I'm not the teacher. I'm not the whatever. Like, I got your back and I've had it for the last 38 years. So you don't, so that's it, Lisa. I don't know if you back or not, but that was our I thought we were just going with no sugar.
My bad. I should have warned. I'm gonna start put warning labels on the,
Please,
on the
you ain't got to say
contract.
nothing, but just do it in red, please, so I know.
Coach. Okay. Yeah, y'all. My bad. So the biggest takeaway here is for sure that the biggest takeaway here now is sometimes what we're battling is not really what we're battling. Like it's not really like the job. It's the stressor is not really the relationship. It's something deeper. It's something at the root. Like ET just articulated it perfectly. Like to go back and realize that I have issues sometimes with people being demanding, and that might be part of the reason we ended up here. And for some of you, that is a similar situation. You think your stress is just the specific circumstance. It's something at the root that has that thing that should have been acute stress into chronic stress. Makes sense, y'all? There's something at the root that we need to work on. And that's why I have to go deep, because it's not going to be just about identifying if you're stressed and trying to make small changes to your diet, but it's really about let me figure out why this didn't end. Why am I still here? It's chronic stress kills. All right. So let's finish this thing up. Let's finish this thing up. I hope that helps and I hope that makes sense. And let's finish this thing up as I talk about radical obedience. Just give me a 2 in the chat if I'm clear, if it's better. I'm clear, and if it's better, I can teach. Okay. Praise God. God, please bless the technology for the remainder of the time we have together so they can get this lesson. Thank you guys so much. We switched over our Wi-Fi. Hopefully this works for the remainder of the time. I told you guys that the framework called method for eliminating chronic stress. And for the past several days, we've been leaning into the second E, or the first E, but the second step in the framework, and that was create your exit, and engagement strategy. Today, I want to finish us off with the R and the HER method, which I told you stood for radical obedience. And as a reminder, I told you that radical equals complete, obedience equals surrender. Now, define radical obedience is complete surrender to what God is calling you to do in this season of life. Complete surrender to what God is calling you to do in that season of life. So that could be in your health, it can be in your career, it could be in your relationships, it could be in your healing. Like there's something that keeps coming up and you're not facing it. What do you need to heal from? It could be in your finances, it can be in your spirituality, it could be in how you show up in the world. What is God calling you to do? What is he calling you to do? And are you being radically obedient to that? Now, you might be saying, like, break it down for me, coach. What exactly is radical obedience? There are 4 tenets. Make sure obedience radical. If you want your obedience to graduate to radical, here's how you do it. I'm about to break it down for you. There's 4 steps. so that you will know, you'll be super clear on whether or not you are being radically obedient. And at the end of this thing, at the end, shout out to Jill in the room. I broke this down to Jill on a ride to Lansing one day. On a ride to Lansing from BTW. So Jill got it. Jill, I might have you come on at the end if you don't mind and give us a testimony about radical obedience when I first taught it to Jill. But want you guys to take notes on this because this framework is essentially going to form as your measuring stick. Let this be your litmus test, whether or not you're truly being radically obedient to what God is calling you to do. Let this be a litmus test. And at the end, I'm going to give you guys an assessment. I'm going to give you guys an assessment that you'll take on your own to measure you in each of these 4 areas. So we created a whole assessment around radical obedience. So don't worry, we have it for you. Here's the first tenet. Your obedience goes from average to radical when it is complete, not partial. When it is complete, not partial. So what that means is doing everything God called me to do and not just some of what he told me to do. I'll give you a real quick example. I do this challenge twice a year called the 30-day vegan challenge. During the 30-day vegan challenge, we have our participants, they're vegan for the entire month, but they are also salt, oil, and sugar free. Now that's important because SOS is what we call it. SOS is all vegan. Salt, oil, and sugar is vegan. But we give that up during the challenge too. And so guess what people do? They be like, Coach, now I've been watching you for years. I've been listening to your stuff. I got 3 homies that took your challenge and they doing well. And so I know I got some stuff I need to handle in my health. So I'm gonna take it. But I don't know if I can let go of that sugar, Coach. I'm gonna do most of it, Coach, but I really don't know if I can let go of the salt. I'm gonna do everything else for the month, but I don't know. That salt, I just don't see how that's possible, Coach. I'm gonna do everything you say, except, Coach, I'm still gonna cook with a little bit of oil this month. They come into the challenge telling me what part of the protocol they're not going to follow. I'm like, let me get this straight now. You've been listening to me for a while. You believe in what I teach. You have friends and family who have been recipients of what I teach. So you have evidence, right? You know I have integrity, right? You understand that the entire protocol was built for your transformation. You understand there's science behind the protocol. You understand the protocol has been tested on thousands of people before you. So you understand the assignment. Yet you come in here and say, I want the whole result. I want to be diabetes free, blood pressure free, high cholesterol free. I want autoimmune condition remission. I want cancer remission. I want the depression lifted. I want the anxiety lifted. I'm asking for the whole result, but I'm showing up telling you I'm only going to do part of the work. Because a part of it is just too hard for me. It's too challenging. I can't wrap my brain around and make that work. Let me tell you something. Obedience becomes radical when it is complete, not partial. This means do everything God told you to do and not just the part that suits you. Don't just do the parts that don't require you to face your insecurities. Don't just do the parts require you to stay hidden and stay in the background. If the assignment requires you to be in the front of the camera, do what he told you to do. If the assignment requires you to eat like you got some sense, do what he told you to do. If the assignment requires you to start telling your story publicly, do what he told you to do. Up, you guys, did you know your biggest issue is not that you're disobedient? It is that you are partially obedient. And what's happening is you are riding the wave of partial obedience because you can't beat yourself up that much because you're doing most of it. You let's go back to a couple days ago. I'm not that bad. I'm not at my worst. The issue is you're not at your best. If you got it, put a 2 in the chat if I can go to number 2. First thing that makes obedience radical is that it is complete, not partial. It is complete, not partial. Okay. Thank you for the permission. Here's number 2. Here's number 2. The second thing that graduated my obedience from radical is that it was immediately and not eventually. It is immediately and not eventually. That means we talked about it this week. Means as soon as you get the divine download, you take action. Candace asked me early on in the series, she's like, Lisa, like, how do I know? Like, I don't want to be too crazy with my action taken and not be sure that it's God. Like, how do I know? Should I have left the job immediately? I didn't want to be there. And I knew I needed to exit from that 9 to 5, but it wasn't safe for me to leave right then and there. Right. And I told Candace that immediately, not eventually, means you start taking action towards the thing immediately. So if you know that the job is not where you're supposed to be, I'm not telling you guys to quit today. I'm telling you to activate the exit strategy today. That means let's look at the calendar and set a date. Let's sit down and decide what we want to do instead. And let's start taking steps toward it. The issue is many of us are in undesirable circumstances or dissatisfied in some area of our life, and we just sitting in dissatisfaction. We don't have an exit strategy. We don't have an enter strategy. We don't have an engagement strategy. All we have is unfulfillment. Candace, you adding 2 cents to this?
Oh, yes, Lisa, I'm just in love right now with this framework. So thank you so much. And I wanted to highlight here when you're talking about immediately, not eventually. I want to really dive deeper into what Deja did earlier, and what Eric and Didi are doing is like immediately ask the hard questions. Does that make sense? Like, I do the excavating, because that's for me. Yes, it was the strategy, but before the strategy could really be fulfilled, I had to ask myself the hard questions. I had to do that deep work with God. So I just wanted to highlight that part, because you were referencing the story, and I was like, yes, absolutely. But before that, I had to do that deep work that she talked about with Deja and what Eric and Didi are doing. So I just wanted to highlight that, Lisa.
Thank you, Candace. Absolutely. Like, you make better decisions. So let me remind you guys of the framework because Candace just made a perfect point. I want to remind you guys of the framework of eliminating chronic stress. It's the HER method, right? HER. Remember, I said H stands for heal the body and the mind. So Candace said, before anything else, I with myself and did the deep work. That's the healing of the body and the mind. You do not make healthy decisions from an unhealthy place. As a matter of fact, it's impossible. Did you know it was impossible to make a healthy decision from an unhealthy place? So if you are broken in some area, it is going to be very, very challenging to move through this process because you are not whole. So the very first step in eliminating chronic stress, H, is I healed the body and the mind. Candace sat with herself and really got to the root of some things. And then you can make healthier decisions about the job, about the relationship, about your career, about money, about health, about whatever. You guys know. So don't like every step in this process matters. There's a what E always say, there's an order. There's an order of operations. The order is I get clear for I stop eating the foolishness first because I need to be able to think clearly. I go catch up on sleep and rest first. So I don't make good decisions when I'm fatigued. I start sitting and asking deeper questions first because don't want to make a decision from a place of insecurity, right? So first things first, heal the body and the mind. Do that work, and then you create your strategy, and then you're ready for radical obedience. So thank you for that, Candace. That was a perfect place to remind people of the order of operations. So number 2 was immediately, not eventually, which essentially means do it as soon as he tells you to do it. So first, we're going to do everything God told us to do. Then we're going to do it as soon as He tells us to do it, which means I'm going to start taking steps toward it. I'm not asking anybody to walk out on their family. I'm not asking anybody to walk off their job today. I'm not asking, but I need you to take action immediately. A couple of days ago, I told you Mel Robbins calls it the 5-second rule. Because if you don't take action immediately, unfortunately, our brain has a mechanism that's designed to keep us safe. And how it does that is start feeding us reasons, a bunch of reasons as to why this is probably not a good idea right now. But if we allow our brain to have its way, it is going to talk us out of what our gut just told us was right. And I know you guys can testify to that. It's not your brain's fault. Your brain's job is to keep you safe and secure. Your brain's job is to keep you habituated. However, if you take action quickly on the thing that your gut told you to do, even though it may feel uncomfortable, you are going to be in a better position later. So that is number two. Let's get into number three. The third tenet of the radical obedience framework is joy and not resistance. Joy and not resistance. So that means not only do you do all of what he told you, not only do you take action immediately, but you do it with a cheerful heart. You do it with a good attitude. And tell this story, y'all. Listen, entrepreneurship ain't no joke, right? No, y'all done heard Coach E talk about it. Entrepreneurship ain't no joke. And you got to be equipped emotionally to navigate entrepreneurship. And a couple years ago, I had somebody reach out to me. She had come to an event similar to this, where she had, sat with me, got an opportunity to learn from me for a couple of days, and she was just blown away, right? And she's like, I need to work with you. I want you to be my coach. Like, this was amazing. I'm ready to start my business. I want you to be my business coach. And we got on a call and she's fanning out. I can't believe it. You're exactly what I've been praying for. You're exactly what I've been needing to really get off my butt and start my coaching business. Like, you poured into me and I'm ready, ready, ready. I said, let's get it, right? And she signed up with us, and she paid money, and I'm talking thousands of dollars, and she was ready. Then that good old thing called deliberation set in, and after a couple days she come emailing me and she's like, move too fast. I pulled the trigger. Like, her gut told her everything was right. And this was the move she should make. And it was time to invest in herself. And it was time to stop trying to do everything on her own and figure everything out on YouTube. And she needed a coach. But then, a couple days after she signed up, she's like, maybe I shouldn't. She started talking herself out of it. And she hit me up and she's like, I don't want to do it. Can I have a refund? I don't think I should invest in myself right now. I don't think it's the right time, right? Let me tell you something about entrepreneurship. Okay. When you make money in business and you got to pay people and you got things to do, okay, every dollar is accounted for. Right? Every dollar is accounted for. And I had a moment. I remember them. I was sitting on an airplane flying somewhere, and I'm reading the email. And I had a moment where I understood. As soon as I read the email, I knew immediately I was going to give her a refund. I wasn't going to be like, well, you signed the contract and this is what it is. And the policy says no refunds. I couldn't enforce that legally. Legally, I couldn't enforce it. But God told me, don't take on a client that's not like this, that's not in a good place. She's having buyer's remorse. Just let her go. But mind you,
Amen.
right, E? But mind you, this money was already allocated. So I had to navigate my emotions. One part, what was the recipe for my emotion? It was one part irritation, two parts a little panic, three parts a little, like, it was a recipe for what I was feeling. Right, disappointment, right, and I had to, and then I wanted to, stuff like this happens. You want to vent a little bit, man. People this, people that, make up your mind. Why don't people? But I couldn't do any of that because as soon as I read it, told me, just give the money back. You will figure it out. You will figure it out. So I had to do it with a cheerful heart. I didn't get to complain to my team. I didn't even get to go to my best friend or my spouse. I didn't make an ambiguous post on social media about people not knowing what they want. I didn't do any of that. Not only did I do it, I blessed her in the email. Right. I wish you absolutely the best. Please come back if I could ever help you. I'm more than happy to give you a refund because I don't want you moving forward with something that doesn't feel good to you. So sometimes in life, we got to do hard stuff, and God told us what to do. But the issue is, some of us, we will do it, but we will do it, and we'll have some words. We'll have some colorful language as we do it. We'll do it, and we'll make people know that we don't want to be here. We'll do it, but we'll let them know how we feel about doing it. Right? We'll go posting somewhere, or we'll go into the people we trust, because that's our sounding board. Those are the people that we get to unload on, and we'll start being crazy because we just need a moment to unload. But radical obedience says, no, 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 no. I told you what to do. You do it and you move on. You do it and you move on. Oh, it's not just a matter of doing it. That's not what makes it obedient. It goes to the next level when you happily refund thousands of dollars because you already know that God is going to replace that. Everybody got number three? Let's get into the final one. Let's get into the final one. Your obedience. Oh, we got a good ouch in the show. We got ouch. I know it's time. All right, I'm coming down some streets today. Radical obedience says, here's number four. Radical obedience says that you do it with innocence and not expectation. Can we lean into this last one? Can we lean into this last one? Radical obedience says we do it with innocence and not expectation. So, what does that mean? Okay, coach, like I hear you. I need to optimize my health before I start making all of these tough decisions that I know I need to make. Understand that I need to lift the brain fog. I understand that I need to, get all of this synthetic stuff out of my system. I need to get all this hyperactivity out of my mind. And I'm ready, coach. I'm ready to do the work. I'm ready to eat how you tell me to eat. I'm gonna do it all. I'm gonna be complete, not partial. And you know what? I'm ready right now. I'm not gonna ask you when the next challenge starts or when you're gonna do the program again. I'm not gonna keep pushing it off, coach. I'm gonna do it immediately and not eventually. All right, coach. Also, I'm not gonna complain about not eating sugar. I'm not gonna complain about not being able to cook with oil. I'm going to come in and I'm going to do everything you tell me to do with joy and not resistance. However, we 2 weeks into this thing and I stood on the scale and I'm not seeing what I expect to see. Like we 3 weeks into this thing, coach, and I took my blood pressure and I'm wearing a monitor or I went to my doctor's appointment and I'm not seeing what I thought I would see at this point. I'm just going to let my foot off the gas a little. I'm just going to skip a week. I'm going to allow myself to have a little bit of sugar because I went 3 weeks clean and I'm not seeing what I expect to see. So I'm going to let my foot off the gas because maybe it ain't working. I'm not getting what I was expecting. Not radical obedience. Radical obedience says we do it without watching the scoreboard. You told me to start this business, but nobody's buying. God, you told me to write this book, but it's not going the way I planned. And so because I'm not getting what I expected, what I expected, I'm gonna slow down. I'm gonna start slowly doing less and less of what you told me to do. I'm not showing up with the same enthusiasm. I'm not showing up with the same vigor. I'm not showing up with the same excitement because I'm scoreboard watching. And because the scale is not moving the way I think it should move at the end of this 30 day, maybe isn't for me. But the truth of the matter is, when you're doing what God told you to do, you do it with innocence and not expectation. That means, that means I do it like a kid who didn't even know I was supposed to get something in return. Now, I wasn't a millionaire at the end of the first year of my business. I wasn't a New York Times bestseller when I wrote my first book. So maybe I wasn't meant to do this. You have expectations. And because you have expectations, it is compromising your obedience. I don't know how many of you guys anchored weeks ago, but during the panel with myself, this and Am, I told you guys that there were two words that were ruining things for you. Anybody remember those two words? I told you guys there were two words that I took out vocabulary that completely changed the way I show up in life. Thank you, Candace. Keep cold while she was sitting right next to me. Thank you, Angie. By now. By now. Right? Coach, I've been eating this way for 3 months and I just feel like I should be off the medications by now. I've been in business 2 years. I just feel like we should be further along by now. We've been working on this for we've been going to therapy. We done had 10 sessions. I just feel like even though it took us 20 years to build these issues, we done had 10 sessions. We should be in bliss by now. Your expectations is ruining the whole program. Your expectations is ruining the whole system. So I need you to show up with innocence, not expectation. Because if you have expectations that things are supposed to look a certain way at a certain time, you might rob yourselves of the blessing that God has for you on the other. So radical obedience is complete, not partial, immediately, not eventually, done with joy and not resistance. And it's done with innocence, not expectation. Was that helpful today, guys, as we begin to wrap up and get into our final thoughts? Was that for Jill? If you're available, I would love to get your 2 cents on this, because me and you had a super juicy 1.5 hour long conversation about radical obedience. And there was one of these 4 that you said really was the best one. And I don't know, Jill, if you down for sharing, if you're available. But man,
Yes, for sure.
yes.
I'm thinking about it now, and I appreciate you sharing this. So the one that hit me in my chest was the difference between obedience and radical obedience. You
Mhm.
said was timing. And the I had the binaural in my vocabulary at that time too. I had surrendered some certain things to Lord, and I didn't understand what was going on and why things weren't happening. And I know that car ride was definitely divine, because I was tired, and I was tired of people telling me, I wasn't a leader, tired of hearing that I was too much of this or too much of that. And those words would cut me down. And for a long time, I let those voices, dictate my worth. But then, God usually in that car, because you dropped, basically that word that changed everything. The difference between obedience and radical obedience is timing. And I didn't think, and that conversation came right after you were sharing about the sugar, and I didn't understand the connection at first. I was not understanding that, but that just kept ringing in my mind. It hit me because if I realized that if I could schedule obedience, on my own terms, then that really meant that radical obedience was surrendering to God, in on God's terms to me. No delay, no negotiations, don't halfway give a yes, those kind of things. And what changed my life in that moment, I promise you, Lisa, we were both kind of shook because I got a text message in that moment. I don't even remember how long ago that was, maybe 6 months ago, I think. I got a text message in that car to do something, but while we were talking and I was in the moment of surrendering in real time, God allowed a text message to come through to ask me to do something that I was very afraid of doing. I was asked to preach for a Women's Day, and I had been avoiding that because I'm holding on to voices in my head and afraid and things like that. But you had just talked to me about divine timing and surrender and obedience, radical obedience. And so, for me, Lisa, that car became my altar where I was going to leave all of that stuff down.
Mm.
And so under that, I said yes. And it wasn't yes to the preaching. It wasn't that. It was yes to stepping into purpose, leaving the people pleasing behind. In that moment, I realized something that as a leader, if you bow to people's opinions, then you know what I'm saying, that could wound you. But leadership that bows to God's timing, that will heal you into purpose. Like that made me, it just did something to my life drastically. So that, yes, it wasn't about discernment, it wasn't about anything else but alignment with what God has for my life. And I could finally hear that sugar gives you clarity to hear. It unclogs your heart and unclogs your ears, and I really appreciate that. And that thing has been shaping my life ever since. So when I'm tempted to doubt or to hesitate, I make sure I remember, that one, surrender is key. Radical obedience is about timing. And, that yes in the cart, like I said, is why I'm standing here today. I'm not defined by what other people think about me. I'm not defined about who said what or leaders that have been hurtful. And it's about the voice of God. And I'm so thankful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jill. That was a powerful testimony, wasn't it, y'all? Man, that was so good. Yes. And Jill said yes to the invitation to preach. He sent me a clip. She sent me the video, and September she went. And I was just so proud. She said yes, and she showed up, and she killed it. So I'm so super proud of you, Jill. So super proud of you. Thank you for sharing. Guys, this is so amazing. Okay, so we got to wrap up. I'm going to give you one more tip on how to go from a consumer to a producer. So our last one in that segment. And then I have some final thoughts for you. And I want to gift you today with a radical obedience assessment. So we have an assessment that we created that will measure you, that will give you a score in each of those 4 areas. So you'll know which area you're the lowest in. Okay. So stay tuned. We're going to drop that link soon. First things first, let me give you your final tip in how to go from a consumer to a producer. In day one, I say, calculate the cost of inaction. In day two, I said, acknowledge the difference between it's new versus it's hard. In day three, I said, admit what you don't understand when you need help. If you won't take any action. In day four, I activate the 5-second rule because your brain will try and talk immediately so you can run back to what's familiar. In day five, I said, commit in advance. I said, I dare you to make a commitment that's in the future will force you to take action from now until then. And here on our final day, guys, in day six, my tip for you is become the possibility model. Become the possibility model. So if you want to stop filling up notebooks with pages of notes and nuggets, but you really want to take that stuff off the page and do something with it, I want you to remember who's watching. So all of us need a possibility model. We need someone who models possible for us. However, I need you to recognize for somebody, you are the possibility model. If you are a parent, somebody is watching you. If you are a spouse, you have influence over them. If you are a teacher, a leader, a boss, manager, entrepreneur, you have influence. Some of you guys are like me, you have an audience online. Listen, I'm telling you right now, post something I'm eating or drinking, they running out to buy it. I'm posting something, they're like, what's that? Want to do what you doing? How you eating that, right? We have influence more than we know, whether it's on a public platform, private one. Do not in these rooms, collect all this good information, and your life looks the same a year from now, a week from now, a month from now. Be a possibility model for the people who are modeling you. So make that your motivation to stop just consuming information, but to do something with the information you are consuming. Do something with the information you are consuming. Yes, 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 yes. Okay. So let me wrap up with some final thoughts. Before I give you my final thoughts, does anybody have questions or quick takeaway they like to share before we get into final thoughts? I just want to hold space for questions, clarity, revelation. Tony and Candace.
I just want to say thank you, Lisa. This was amazing. The yesterday was so good as it relates to, I think you said something about like set that deadline, like go after it. And you just been like, I don't even like getting on this call anymore because the conviction is too strong. And so I had to set a deadline for myself for December 2nd for something that God had just been seeded in me. And so I'm like, not December 2nd, November 1st. Sorry, I'm already trying to change the the date, Lisa. And so yes, I'm writing every day and I'm excited about it. So just thank you for this week. Thank you for the conviction. Thank you for walking us through it. So just wanted to say that that's it for me.
Yes, I love it. Thank you for sharing that, Candace. I'm super proud of you. And we're looking forward to kind of holding you accountable to what you said. Yes. So I'll be texting you and
Okay,
making
so
sure.
okay, I'm gonna say it because I'm not being obedient. It's a book.
Okay.
So I need to have the book written. I know I still got some other stuff, but God has already given it to me. I just need to write it out. November 1st is my deadline. So I'm seeing it on here for the 62 people on to hold me accountable. So that's it.
Let's get it. Let's get it. Okay. Y'all heard it. Y'all heard it. She has to November 1st. APOC family, keep her accountable. I know I will. So, Candace, you'll be hearing from a lot of us. Come on, peacemaker. Let's go. I love it here. Okay. So, guys, here I have three final thoughts for you today that I want to share just to give you something to walk away with and make sure this resonates the way it should. Again, for anyone for whom this has been overwhelming or a lot or way above what you were expecting to come into for a health week, I want to say don't overthink this. Don't overthink it. The goal is not to be the same this time next month, next year, right? So go at the pace you need to, but activate something that resonated with you for this week. Okay. So let's get into my final thought. Let me pull them up on the screen here. 3 quick ones for you. You guys are amazing. Okay, let's share. Final thoughts. The first one is, Dee Dee asked me on the first day. Dee Dee asked me on the first day, she said, Lisa, can you just give us like what would be the value of this week? She said, what would be the value if you could put a number to it, a price to it, monetarily? What would be the value of this week, the importance of it? And I told Dee Dee 3 to 5. I told her 3 to 5, but not hundreds of dollars, not thousands of dollars. I told her 3 to 5 years, 3 to 5 years. And I said that because the science shows that when we eliminate chronic stress, we can earn back approximately 3 to 5 years of life, because that is on average much somebody's life is shortened when they are dealing with chronic stress. And I thought it was important to reiterate that here, just so you guys can understand the importance of the work. Chronic stress, when you have something in your life that is applying an extraordinary amount of overwhelm over a long period of time, and it's not tied to meaning, it's not sparking joy, it is shaving time of your life. So I needed to reiterate to you guys the value of this week is 3 to 5 years that you could save of your life expectancy. However, I want to take it one step further. That's just about how long you could potentially live. Other thing you want to understand about chronic stress is that it impacts your life on a daily basis. So while we could add potentially 3 to 5 more years on your life when we eliminate chronic stress, we can also improve the quality of those years while you're here. So we're talking about quality of life. We're talking about not just the number of years, but we're talking about the quality of your years. So I'm going to re-answer Dee Dee's question and say that the value of this is immeasurable. Immeasurable, because the goal is not just to be alive. A lot of people think you just won when you opened your eyes, but people are going through their days miserable. So it's not just about being alive, it's about the quality of those days. The value is immeasurable. Your weeks, your months, your years can start feeling better, more joy, more joy. So that's the first final thought. That's the first final thought. Here's the second one. Here's the second one. I want to define 2 words for you. I want to define 2 words for you. Okay? Because a lot of times what happens is when I'm asking people to give up and things, people to give up certain things, they say words like, I feel deprived. Has anybody ever said that before? Like you might go through a health challenge, or you might do, some type of 21-day, 30-day thing, 75 hard with, you got to stop eating certain things. And you might feel deprived. You might feel like that it's like you're being shortchanged because you can't enjoy everything that you want to enjoy. That you guys have experienced that? Okay, great. So there's 2 quick words I want to define for you so we can put this in perspective. Yeah, thank you. Somebody say yes, I'm missing out on something. Absolutely. Okay. Really quickly, here is 2 words that I want to define for you. So maybe this will put this in better perspective. Let me put this in better perspective. So the first word that I want to define for you is fee. Fee. So fee is a payment for act. If you want to go to a concert, there's usually going to be a fee, right? If you want to eat a restaurant or dine out, right, and you want an exceptional meal, there's going to be a fee. Right? You're paying for access to something. If you want to invest in a coach, a mentor, someone that has some resources that can teach you how to do something, there's going to be a fee. So a fee is payment for access. However, most of you guys are treating the things you have to do for your health as a fine. Fine, on the other hand, is a penalty for doing something wrong. Fine is a penalty that you pay because you were driving above the speed limit. Fine is a penalty you pay for not taking your trash off the curb in enough time. There's a penalty you pay for loitering. There's a penalty, a fee is the cost of entry. What I need you to understand about everything I told is that not having sugar, digging into your past and doing the deep work is payment for acts. It's a fine and not a fee. That is the fee you pay for freedom. It is the fee you pay for peace of mind. It is the fee you pay for making that will get you on the other side. The fee you pay for peace is tough decisions and doing hard things. You can abstain from that cheese. It's not hard because it's not a fine. You're not being penalized. You're not being deprived. You're paying for access to optimal health. Do you see the difference? Like you can let go of that stuff. You can have that tough conversation. You are not being penalized when it hurts. You're paying for peace of mind and freedom. So understand the difference between a fee and a fine. They are not the same. They are not the same. Am I still going in and out, Key? Let me know. Let me know. Okay, hold on. We'll wait a minute. Okay, we'll wait a minute for the signal to come back in as we wrap up. It would do good all that time, and then in the final hour, y'all let me know when I'm back. Y'all let me know when I'm back. Then how's it sound now?
You're back, Lisa. It's just
Okay, thank.
so crazy because it's good. And I think you just stay sitting forward, I think, because it's something about like the audio is not picking up. It doesn't really sound like your connection. It's like the audio is not picking up properly.
Well, you know what? I can take these AirPods off because we got to finish strong. And one thing we're gonna do is finish strong. No, so if it's maybe not the
Yeah, try that,
Wi-Fi,
Lisa. Yeah,
okay,
try take the headphones out so we can
okay,
hear everything. Yep.
okay. How about now, y'all?
Yep.
Yep.
Go ahead. Yep.
Better?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So it might sound a little echoey, but we'll try it this way. So, anyway, my last statement was I want to make sure you guys understand that when you feel like you can't have something, when you feel like you're missing out, when you got to work out and everybody's eating out, when you got to eat vegetables off the grill and everybody's eating processed food, that is not a penalty. It is a fee for access to optimal health. It is a fee for peace of mind. It is a fee for feeling better. Okay. So if you got it, just put got it in the chat because I know we had some tech. So if you got it, put got it in the chat that you understand the difference between a fee and a fine. So we can stop thinking that we're losing because we got to make hard decisions and tough choices. Perfect. Perfect. Okay. Wonderful. Excellent. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right. So let's get into this final takeaway. Let's get into this final takeaway. So I know I'm late to the party. I know I'm late to the party, y'all. But just yesterday on my flight to Arizona here, right? I watched a documentary. I watched a documentary about Luther Vandross, huh? And I know I'm
Oh,
late to the
so
party. I
good.
didn't even know it was
So
out.
good. So good, Lisa.
So good, Candace. So good. So I didn't even know the documentary was out, but I watched it last night on the plane, right? I watched it last night on the plane and it was so good. Shout out to Luther, right? And so when I was watching the documentary, there was a point in the film where the interviewer asked Luther, like, out of your entire catalog, out of all of your hits, which one is your favorite? What's your favorite couple of songs that you have, right? And Luther said that it was Any Love. It was Any Love. And Luther said that Any Love was his favorite out of his entire catalog because it was, listen to his language, y'all. He said it was his most autobiographical song. Listen, he said Any Love was his favorite because it is his most
autobiographical song. In other words, he said he loved that song the most because it is exactly how he was feeling in that moment. What I heard was it was his complete and absolute truth. What I heard in that moment is any love at the time. It wasn't, he's like, I just wasn't writing good lyrics. You know, I wasn't just dropping bars. I wasn't just flexing my lyrical abilities, but I was speaking my truth. That song was me. That song is what was happening for me in the moment. And I said all of that to say that my prayer for each and every one of you is that you get the courage to live out your complete and absolute truth. That is all that I have been trying to help you do this week. Like, don't get so consumed with the details that it overwhelms you. Don't get so consumed with the details that you don't do anything. Some of you are struggling right now. Some of you are struggling right now, physically, mentally, or emotionally. And I told you guys earlier in the week that if nothing changes, today will be the healthiest you've ever been. I told you if nothing changes, today is the healthiest you'll ever be. So my final thought to you is whether you're a detail person or a big picture person, take your time as you go, whether you're a take your time person or go as fast as you can person. The point is, if there is a gap between where you are and where you want to be, I need you to understand that what lies in the middle, what lies in the gap, is radical obedience. So I hope and I pray that you guys have been blessed this week.
So good. So good. Thank you, Lisa. Thanks, family. Amazing.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you. And thanks,
Thank you,
family.
Lisa.
Thank you, Lisa.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for clocking our tea all week. We thank you.
Listen.